Okay, today we're going to talk about combined inequalities. This will be a quick review of Chapter 5, Section 5. In this section we talked about two ideas. The first one is a conjunction, and the second one is a disjunction. And remember, when we talked about a conjunction, we talked about the word and joining those two sentences. And when we talked about a disjunction, we talked about the word or being the word that would join those two sentences. So let's just talk about a real-life instance where something like a conjunction might occur. Suppose I said to you we needed to schedule a time for us to do some math help. It needed to be after 2:30 p.m. because that's when school got out, but it had to be before 6 o'clock p.m., all right, because at that point the school was being used for some other purpose. So if you were to graph that on a line, you would actually say, okay, anytime after 2:30 until we got to 6 p.m. So it's only this time here which we would be available to do our work. And this is basically what you're doing when you're talking about a conjunction. So let's take a mathematical look at this and take an example and work through it and get a sense of how we would graph this and how we would, well, first how we would solve it and then ultimately how we would graph it. So let's take an example like 3x is less than 6 and x plus 2 is greater than 1. So in order to solve this equation, or this inequality, the first thing that we would do is divide both sides by 3. We'd come up with x is less than 2, and if we were to solve this inequality, we would subtract 2 from both sides, and we would come up with x is greater than negative 1. So now we have this, these two boundaries, these two parameters, and we're going to put them on a regular graph, so a line graph. So we're going to start with negative 1, negative 2, and over here 1 and 2. Now, since there's no equal sign, this is just a strict inequality, we're going to start at 2 and we're going to put a circle here without any fill, and we're going to say anything less than is going to satisfy this equation. Okay, so we're going to go all the way down here. And now the other parameter is that x is greater than negative 1, so we're going to place our other dot right here. Again, no fill because it's not equal to. And the only thing that satisfies both these equations is this space right here. So we're going to end up graphing these two equations in this format. And this again is a conjunction. Now, talking about a disjunction, when we talk about a disjunction is basically two things that we're talking about where the word or is being used. So let's take a mathematical example here, and we have z plus 2 is greater than or equal to 5, or 3z is less than and equal to 3. So now again we're going to go through our process where we're going to solve our inequalities just the way we would solve a regular equation, and you're going to end up with z is greater than, and because we have again a 5 and a negative 2, we're going to end up with a positive 3, and then or we're going to divide this equation 3 by both sides. You're going to be left with z is less than or equal to 1. And then graphing this particular inequality, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to line up your little numbers, and we're going to come up with negative 3 and a negative 2 and a negative 1, 1, 2, 3. You're going to place the first one here. Oops, forgot my little equal to. And that's important because we know that if it's equal to, it indicates how we're going to mark the initial point, and this one will be filled in because 3 is included in the solution set, and everything is going to go in this direction. In this case, we've got z is less than or equal to 1, and in this case what we're going to be doing then is taking our dot, putting it here, and continuing on in this direction. As you notice, there's nothing in between. They don't meet at any point. There's no union like there was in the conjunction. And this is how you would graph a disjunction. Again, these are covered in Chapter 5, Section 5.